Hey friend, in this video, I've got something really cool to share with you. And this is part of my journey. I want to tell you a story about how I secured 33 interviews in the Seattle, Washington marketplace from El Paso, Texas, 5 years ago when I found myself in a period of time where I needed to transition. I needed to move, and I needed to connect with people. So stay with me for this short video. I'll give you the three key things that I dialed into to make this possible for myself. And I guarantee you that you'll be able to take away from this video key golden nuggets that you'll be able to institute for yourself as you execute in your job search and connect with people to do so. The first thing that I want to go into in how I got those 33 conversations, those 33 interviews, is I want to talk about the power of a cup of coffee. For me, I love that term and I use it a lot when I'm working with my students, my individuals that I'm coaching one-on-one towards networking and getting a role. The power of a cup of coffee means that as you're approaching somebody, you bring a low barrier to entry. Okay, so how did I, and how can you get a meeting with just about anybody out there? The first thing you need to realize is that people want to help people. And if you approach anybody with a reasonable request that makes it easy for them to say yes, they are so much more likely to do so. So for me, what did that look like? Well, I secured a couple of conversations in the Seattle marketplace. I knew that I was going to be there during a specified time. So I sent out a communication, and I'll talk more about that in the video, how I did that. I sent out a communication to 750 people and said, I'll be here speaking with Microsoft and Starbucks during these 3 days. And I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you to pick your brain, to use you as a sounding board. So I wasn't asking them for an interview. I wasn't asking them for a job. I was simply asking them for a moment of their time. I was giving them an opportunity just to help. And by doing so, I was acknowledging that they could help me. Okay? That low barrier to entry enabled people to step through the door easily. I gave them a specific couple of days that I was going to be there. I made it easy for them to look at their calendar and give me just a time or two. Right? And that process of making it easy for somebody to help, just asking for a cup of coffee, was critical to my success. The second thing that I did, the second component that I want to talk about, is how you can email just about anybody without truly knowing their email address. And I know this sounds a little bonkers. I know it sounds a little bit crazy. The way that I learned this is I used to set up global travel, global trips. I would get a request from my CEO. He would say, hey, Ryan, we've got an international recruiting trip we need to make to Sao Paulo next week. In 2 weeks, usually it was about 10 days. We have an executive recruiting contract there, and I need you to set up meetings for us. So I would get on LinkedIn, and I would start sending those connection requests. And as people start to connect with you as a first connection, you see their email address. And that's something that about 98% of people allow you as a first connection to see their email address. Now here's the power of this. When you see one person's email address at Microsoft or Google or Amazon or a mom and pop shop, wherever it is, you also see the email formula for the company. First initial dot last name at Amazon.com. First name last name at Amazon.com. Well, when you know the email formula, you can get anybody's name, plug it into the email formula, and you have a really good guess at what their email address is. So for me, I was connected to I sent out 750 emails to Seattle. I was connected as a first connection to about 300 of those people, and I had their actual email addresses. So then I would go to a company that I wanted to target. And I would say, okay, I'm going to go meet with Graycon. That was one of the companies that I actually got a job offer from. So I'm going to meet with Graycon. And I want to get 3 other people from that organization, a CFO, a CEO, and a Chief Human Resource Officer. And I can use the email formula to deduce what those individuals' email addresses are just from knowing their name. Now, so I sent out 750 emails. I didn't have 750 of those emails get to the end user. Maybe I had 75 or 100 of those get kicked back as undeliverable. But having 300 connections, 300 emails, and getting to 650 actual people, that's the power of knowing this one little tip. Okay? Now, you might be saying, well, Ryan, that sounds like I'm going to be annoying some people who I didn't get their email address. I didn't, connect with them on LinkedIn. Here's the thing, folks. All we're asking for is a cup of coffee. If they don't want to have a cup of coffee with you, they just delete your email. We're not pounding people's inboxes. In the same way I respect your inbox, I respected theirs. If they didn't respond, we're done. I sent one bulk email. Okay, now this takes me into step 3. How did I send that bulk email in a way that each individual only thought that I was sending an email to them? I used mail merge. Right, so for me specifically, I had an IBM type computer at that time, so I used Excel for keeping track of my contacts. Excel, so I had the name, I had the email address, and I had the role that person was in, and then I had a notes column for things that I was tracking, right? But I had the name and I had the email. So then I developed a template. This is what I'm going to say. Hello. And then I had a mail merge field that pulled the first name in. Hello, John. I'll be in Seattle during this time, meeting with these companies. I'd love to have a minute of your time to have a cup of coffee with you. Simple email with mail merge bringing in the name and the email address. Well, when you do that in Word, when you set that Word document up with mail merge, then you can take it and paste it into Outlook and use mail merge in Outlook. So I hit send to that mail merge group and just watched the magic happen. Boom, 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 and I watched those communications go out with one click of the button once it's set up. That was at the heart of my formula for going to another market and securing a whole slate of 33 networking conversations, ultimately interviews, and securing multiple job offers in a very competitive marketplace. Me moving from a very small town to that marketplace. And I'll tell you folks, it was like magic. And I've come to realize that it's not normal for a person to go to a marketplace like that and get 33 interviews. I've told that story and I've used these teachings time and time again and realized that's a little weird. And I'll tell you what, I can teach you to be weird too. I can show you how to do this for yourself. And I am so pleased that you've given me your email address and allowed me to contribute into your job search so that I can give you more of these nuggets. I wish you the best of luck. I think of you as if I was in the room with you coaching you, and I see you getting that networking meeting and just being elated. And I am so glad that I get to help you do that.